Hello from Mobile World Congress 2023. I'm here with Angela Wamola, Head of Sub-Saharan Africa at GSMA. Hello, Angela. Nice
Hello.
to meet you again.
It's a pleasure to see you again.
Thank you. What a show. End of second day. What are the key takeaways so far?
I think the key takeaways so far is that everybody is aligned and agreed that there is progress in the region, particularly in the last 10 years in terms of the enablement effect of mobile connectivity in bringing the transformation in the region. But a lot more needs to happen for the next 10 years. And we have convened here in the biggest, most influential event, MWC Kigali 2023, towards understanding and action on what can we do holistically, all the ecosystems, to understand what levers need to be moved and how they need to be moved in order for the impact to be faster and more and greater in bringing everybody online.
Thank you. It's always good to follow up conversations. We talked this year a few times already about certain topics. So would you say that the industry is still committed in creating a faster pace of developing, let's say, the next step of connectivity and solving the challenges we have on the continent?
Yes, and in very many different perspectives that's happening. So, for example, if you just look at it from purely the evolution of technology, given that it is inevitable that we need to evolve into 5G, and 5G being not just an evolutionary technology but revolutionary, we'll be talking about here in the 5G Summit, in the Policy Leaders Forum, how everyone has gone ahead in terms of the roadmaps for availing the spectrum that's required, the rollout that's required, beginning to sort of migrate heavy users of 4G and industries and fixed wireless networks where fiber to the home cannot work. Those actions have already started taking place, even as we figure out more challenging problems, such as how do we then continue to digitize those who are on 2G so that we are able to take advantage of the newer technologies and the efficiencies that they come with in moving those of our customers on that area. At the same time, we're talking about the challenges of doing so in terms of stimulating demand, the barriers that exist today as we know them in terms of the stimulating demand and the adoption of the mobile internet for our people. So all in all, I think it's a mixed cocktail of discussions that are happening here, that looking ahead, ensuring that we safeguard the future, but at the same time addressing the challenges that exist today.
All right. Thank you. Earlier today in the session, you talked about we have to unstuck. If you see the numbers, of course, we're progressing slowly, we connect more people, but on the other side, we also have a usage gap. So how do you see how this unstuck can happen?
Yeah, what I mean by unstuck is, when we look at the numbers, and we've gone a little bit deeper in the context of the region, particularly sub-Saharan Africa, where only 25% of our population have access to mobile internet, and that's 290 million. When we start to unpack that number, we see only 15% of that 17% of that number have accessed mobile internet using a smartphone. Yeah. That means a whole 7% are using a smart feature phone. When we start looking even deeper at the numbers of those who are not connected at all on mobile internet, but have access to a signal, a 3G or a 4G signal, the numbers are even more challenging for us to address, because we begin to unpack the barriers of those who have either a challenge with literacy, digital literacy, or relevant content, or even in the language that they're able to consume. But that's a very small number. It only represents 4% of that gap of 60% of the population who are unconnected. But then we look at now the more revealing numbers are on 16% have a feature phone, so they have a device, but that device cannot connect to 3G or 4G. And then a big pie is 40% who just don't have a device. It's not a feature phone, there's no device. So going deeper helps us to understand where we need to get unstuck. If we throw all the barriers onto the pot, we're not able to see what needed to be done, and that's where we got stuck. So if there's just a small percentage of 4% that helps us to, there is a low-hanging fruit of people who already have a smartphone. All they need is to either have the content in their local language or just build content for them. But the greater challenge that needs to be addressed is the device challenge, with 40% of 680 million people in sub-Saharan Africa who have access to the 3G, 4G signal, but just aren't able to use it or to get onto it. So I think that's where we need to get unstuck, by leveraging data to make informed decisions, policy decisions, fiscal policy decisions that will help us move those numbers faster.
So, coming from the key barriers we have to solve those challenges, obviously, so would you say we have to tackle all of them parallel instead of going one after the other? Is that the go-to? Because it's like the chicken and egg story, where do we start, where do we end?
Exactly. There's no silver bullet, so it's not sequential. It just showcases that there are multiple stakeholders that are necessary but different problems to be treated differently. For those who are not able to use the internet, but it's not an affordability topic in terms of the device, could it be an affordability topic in terms of the bundle? Or is it just, like you're saying, relevant content and building content and looking at digital marketers to be able to unlock that potential? So we need to look at a multi-pronged approach in being able to solve this problem very fast and together.
That's true. So with the Mobile World Congress Africa, second edition now here in Kigali, I think I've visited a lot of panels. I can say with this event, we bring together the ecosystem. We bring the right people together to discuss challenges and solutions. We have a lot of tech vendors here, solution vendors in your exhibition hall. So would you say that's a success if you compare it to the first edition, where already now you grew even bigger?
Yes, for sure. I mean, and that's what we have to take in as progress, incremental progress. Step change progress is even more important. And it's, I think, for us, as in terms of the connectivity world, it is an enabler for value. It's an enabler for ensuring that we bring in as many players as possible who are looking at different aspects of services or building services over and above technology. Because at the end of the day, it's not the technology that you want to monetize, but the services that are on top of it that will bring in the value for the entire economy.
All right, thank you. So this year was new that you had a digital healthcare summit here on site. Can you tell us a bit more about it?
So we entered into a memorandum of understanding with Africa CDC earlier this year at Mobile MWC Barcelona. And one of the pillars of our MOU was with regards to how do we leverage our convening power as the biggest, most influential event in Africa in bringing discussions that are in different sectors and being able to help bring in discussions either at the policy level or the technology level in unlocking value in those sectors. So with Africa CDC and Africa Health Tech Summit as their convening event, co-locating with us here at MWC Kigali 2023, we are able to then have those conversations that look at unlocking the potential in Africa towards making health more affordable in the continent, leveraging the power of technology.
All right, thank you. Very exciting. So what is your vision for Africa's digital landscape in terms of connectivity, innovation, and inclusivity? And how do you see the concept of, we like to say, togetherness driving this vision? Because what we learned through many conferences is they all have to work together. Public sector, private sector, it doesn't work without.
Yes, for sure. I mean, we as a region, the GSMA Sub-Saharan Africa, are very much aligned to the Africa we want. You know, backing the Agenda 2063 and understanding what needs to happen. And so in that regard, it's very important for us to make sure that the conversations are all towards that working together, governments, industry, private sector, not only in our industry, but across other verticals and other sectors, understanding how can we deliver the ambition of a very inclusive, connected and prosperous Africa. That is what this is all about. All the conversations are geared towards that alignment and that agreement that we have the the right intentions for the region, but we just need to figure out how we can tackle our problems together.
All right, thank you very much. My last question. In one sentence, what does togetherness mean for you in the context of mobile network industry and the technology industry?
I think unlocking the potential, using the power of technology for both businesses and society to thrive. That's what we do.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time, Angela.
Thank you very much.
That was Tech Africa News from Mobile World Congress 2023. You can find more on techafricanews.com. Thank you.